I'm super freaking excited today because I have Katie and Lauren on our podcast today, who are the founders of HigherDOSE of New York City. If you don't know who they are, Lauren used to be an international model with over 50 million views on her show, and Katie used to work with Tough Mudder, who took from Tough Mudder from 50 millions to 150 millions, and now they have a new company together, combined their talents, called HigherDOSE, that is taking over the beauty industry in New York City. And also in this episode you can learn that how they have learned from their retail business, how they can also go ahead and start selling strictly online and grow their business through online sales points. So I'm super excited to share that with you today because it's going to be an amazing episode. So make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back, guys, for another episode of the FitBiz Journey podcast. Today I'm here in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, at HigherDOSE with Katie and Lauren, who are the co-founders and the co-CEOs of HigherDOSE, which is an amazing place. And I first stumbled upon it when I was in New York City. Somebody introduced it to me, and as soon as I saw their advertising and marketing that I'm looking at like right now, the colors, it just right away drew me in, and I wanted to know more. And we reached out, we set up this meeting, and I'm here today sitting down face to face. Sorry, there's no video today, but because we have a crazy day just as of now, and we want to make sure that Katie and Lauren can get all the info out there that you guys need to hear. And without further ado, I just would like to basically ask you later. Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. It's nice to be chatting with you.
Thank you very much. I understand how busy you are. This is crazy business that you guys, ladies, have, and I'm just very amazed at what you have accomplished already. And I just really wanted to share with the audience that where you guys are today and where you came from. So would you able to take away and just basically introduce yourself really quickly, where you're today, and then we take it back in a minute?
Sure. We always look at each other to figure out who's going to talk
Lauren
first.
usually starts, so go ahead.
So we have 11 locations now. This is our 11th. We just opened it 3 weeks ago, which we're really excited about. And we also have our take-home sauna experience, which is our sauna blanket. So that's our first product. We officially launched it about 7 months ago, and it's actually over 50% of our business right now. So we're really excited about that. And it really just allows us to provide and give people access to infrared all around the world. We're launching actually in Europe now too, so we're really excited about that. But the idea is that everyone should be doing infrared as much as possible, 3, 4, 5 times a week. So the infrared sauna blanket really allows people to do that. So we're really excited.
Yeah, and as Lauren said, we have 11 locations, a thriving take-home product, but we actually started off with more humble beginnings.
Yeah.
We met about over 4 years ago now. And I have a background in business and finance and entrepreneurship, and Lauren is a health and wellness expert, TV host, was working for a startup called Aloha, where she was researching the next latest and greatest in the wellness industry. And usually Lauren tells this story, but I don't know why I'm telling your side of it.
No, it's
because I'm going to keep it brief. No offense. And she discovered infrared, wanted to start a company around it. We met. We originally were going to bring infrared to yoga. So we started off by installing infrared heating systems into yoga studios, but that was not the best business model because yoga studios don't have a lot of extra cash. Every job's a custom job. So I think our first year working together, we made like $5,000. So it was a very humble beginning. At that time, we were also looking for investors, and we realized that we needed to adjust the business model to be able to get some funding. So we were able to get a small friends and family round together of less than $100,000. With that capital, we were able to open 2 locations that were thriving and popular right off the bat.
So 2 locations as HigherDOSE, like
a space within a space. We had to be creative and resourceful since we weren't able to get millions of dollars to launch. So we opened within another space and negotiated a rev share deal. But because the product of infrared is so powerful, we didn't really have to do much to market. We pretty much opened our doors, had some influencers in, got some Instagram posts, And then usually when people tried it, they were immediately addicted and bought a package, and then were coming back every day and were our best friends. So we kind of got really blessed with how everything started out. And we've just been kind of building on that since then and staying really focused with the business model, just being known for having the highest quality, sexiest, coolest infrared experience. And now, as Lauren alluded to, we're evolving from that into more of a product company that's actually, taking next level health, beauty, tech concepts and bringing them to people's homes, generally centered around infrared heat, light, energy. We're also coming out with an LED face mask. So we're excited about this empire that we're building.
Yeah, and we're just really excited to communicate and educate wellness in a very different way. HigherDOSE. DOSE stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And those are your 4 main happy chemicals. So we're all about, products that release these happy chemicals and just make you feel and look amazing. So yeah, so that's where we're at now, and that's where we were 4 years ago.
That's amazing. I really like the story, especially that you said about the 2 locations under basically $100,000.
Yeah.
It's because I went through exactly the same thing, what you're saying. And you have to be really resourceful, and so many listeners who are listening right now are basically at the same stages and unfortunately there are so many who able to get lots of money up front and they're not resourceful and they just spend all the money as it comes in and they realize, wow, we don't have a business model. In your case, you already learned that you have to adjust your business model, so that's actually really cool.
Yeah, you have to prove out the concept, and that's really difficult when you don't have that much money. But, if it is a really great product, it usually speaks for itself and ends up creating amazing traction, which is what you want before you drop a whole bunch of money into something that doesn't make sense or people don't want.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we had, the challenge of fundraising being like 2 females, which sets us at a
4
disadvantage.
years ago when it wasn't
Right.
And neither of us had, launched our own startups before. So that was another challenge. And sometimes it's like your greatest challenges are also what makes you the strongest, which I think it was in this case, because nobody was just willing to write us big checks. We actually had to prove that we could generate cash. And it was only by proving that we could generate a lot of cash that we attracted a bigger investment of $1.2 million.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys have right now and then opened up more and more?
Yep.
That's awesome.
To date, we've raised 1.2 million and we have 11 locations.
Today, you said today? Or?
To date.
Oh, today. That was
Yeah.
like, wow.
No, today.
Yeah, we're celebrating.
Awesome. That's good. Congratulations. That's
Thank
really
you.
good. And in New York, that money shouldn't actually last very long. But
That's actually nothing.
Again, I think we took our humble beginnings of having to be really scrappy and resourceful, and we've kept that mentality as we've continued to grow the company. So we raised that money actually 2.5 years ago, and it's lasted us this long, and we're completely self-sufficient.
And congratulations, that's
Thank
a
you.
huge deal. And how, during the construction, because I just walked through this is the newest one, isn't it?
Yep.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
We've been open here almost a month.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank
First
you.
of all, it looks amazing, and I love the feel. And lastly, what I wanted to ask about just the location itself, for construction-wise. So, because for our listeners, so many of them opening their second or third locations, and it's always a nightmare, especially when it's the first one. So the question is, were there any hiccups or headaches with constructions for you?
We could write a book on what not to do. We literally made every mistake that you could possibly make.
Not knowing we were making mistakes. We just got screwed over by GCs, which everyone told us we were going to get screwed over by GCs because that's a thing that happens. And it sucks because I don't think Katie and I necessarily did anything wrong in that case, but
we were just inexperienced, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of led us to a model which makes a lot more sense, which is space within a space. So as Lauren mentioned, we have different location types. We're in hotels, we're in wellness centers, we're in equinoxes. Now we have our wholly owned. And what we found is that opening within hotels just makes the most sense for a lot of reasons. The infrastructure's already there. It's an added amenity for the hotel, so they're motivated to do the deal. We get tons of marketing and PR. It's a sexy environment. So we really prefer that model moving forward. But what we did learn opening a standalone is that you should always whatever date you think you're going to open, add 12 months to it, and however much you think you're going to spend.
Well, especially in New York City. New York's a different beast. It's just so expensive, and also our business model, we need showers, and shower permitting in New York City is a nightmare. as you know,
Yep.
I'm sure, just
Yep.
around the gym concept. So it's just almost, they set it up so it's almost impossible for you, and that you need a bunch of money that you need to drain into the location. Like, consider it like $500,000 out the door.
Yep.
And that just doesn't make any sense for us for what we're trying to do. And, you know, like Katie says, the hotel model is like such a sexier experience, and people love going to hotels. And ultimately, these become showrooms for us to sell our sauna blankets and our saunas.
Exactly. I
And
completely
product.
tied up on, by the way, the one. Which one did you tell me to go to? Again?
11 Howard.
Yes, I'm going there. But let's talk about that blanket. So,
Yeah.
because you have launched it, so about 6 months ago.
Well, this is our third version of it. We've been working to perfect it and make it better and better every day. But we are really confident with this version now. So that we launched 7 months ago, and it's been doing amazing. And, you know, now it's over 50% of our business, which is crazy.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. So, firstly, why did you came up with it? And was it like, were you already looking for some additional income for the business, or somehow you just like, oh, idea?
Yeah, no, it was more natural because we were constantly approached about doing pop-ups. And it would be like with cool hotels or, you know, cool fitness brands, and we couldn't really lug around, you know, a 600-pound sauna and set that up. So we were introduced to the infrared sauna blanket a while back, and, you know, we tried it, and Katie and I both loved it, but there was a lot of things that were wrong with it, like the technology couldn't compete with the sauna, and just the experience couldn't compete with the sauna, and there was many things about the product that just made it not as powerful as the sauna. So there was really the opportunity to make the product just as good as the sauna, just based on learning from the pop-ups that we were doing. And ultimately, you know, like, people need to be doing this often. You know, they should be doing it 3 or 4 times a week. So it's also not so easy to come into our locations all the time. So they need to be doing it at home to supplement the infrared benefits. So there's a lot of reasons why we thought this was going to be an amazing product. And, you know, it did take us 1.5 to 2 years to make the product the way that we wanted to. So, for example, we installed amethyst and tourmaline stones in there. If you heat the stones, that penetrates an even deeper infrared therapy, which competes with the sauna. We installed infrared that has 0 to no EMF, which is a huge thing when it comes to infrared products. You have to be careful with any, you know, infrared product that you buy, because, you know, EMF is something that you have to think about, which is electromagnetic field, which is something that, you know, any electrical product you should be thinking about. So, yeah, we were just really, you know, there's a lot of things that we needed to do to make this amazing, and we ended up tackling it and making it great. So when we finally put it on the market, it just flew off the shelves.
And speaking of shelves, were you launching it from basically your locations or online sales, or which one?
Online.
Online?
Yeah.
Meaning, like, so most of the sales are all online, not like...
All online, yeah.
Wow, yeah. But not current clients either. It's basically Amazon, for example, or...
No, well, no, we just do
your
direct
own
to
website,
consumer,
or?
yeah, our own website.
Yeah, I mean, at
And just
first,
direct marketing.
it was basically like passive traffic to our website. And then, you know, we used our newsletter to promote it.
Got it.
So that's how we originally built awareness. But then we started to buy Facebook and Instagram ads, and that's worked really well for us too.
Yeah. How about for the locations? Is that what you're mainly using too? Facebook and Instagram?
None, actually. Like the
None
first
Wow.
The first 2.5 years, we did zero marketing for the locations. It was all word of mouth.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's very almost unheard of. You know what I mean?
Well, thank God for Instagram these days,
Yeah.
and we have a really Instagrammable experience. We really like pride ourselves on creating the best customer experience, from the lighting to the music to the essential oils, you know, to coming into these like beautiful rooms and the showers. So people feel compelled to take sauna selfies in there and spread the word. And you know, like, I think a lot of people found out about us from the Instagram, and then also just word of mouth, because you feel so good afterwards. You have to tell everyone about it.
That's amazing. That's congratulations, really, because that's really cool. That you have something that people want, and it's sexy and looks amazing.
And it helps people ultimately at the end of the day, which is like mainly our biggest driver. It feels so good to be a part of something that, you know, you're actually creating a product that's really like healing and helping people and dealing with anxiety and stress and sleep. And it's just, you know, being someone that's been around health and wellness products forever, even though there's like all these like cool drinks and foods and stuff like that, none of them really actually heal you. So it just feels really good to be a part of something that, is so impactful.
And also where you can do nude photography and it's not totally out of left field.
I thought she was going to say, or burning calories without, doing anything.
Or it's a workout without working out, too.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I did see the Instagram post that I looked at hashtags, and people do post some crazy pictures, but they look good, and people share.
And it's relevant, right?
Yeah.
They are naked in a sauna,
exactly.
so it's not like it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And then as far as for business model, because now you have 11 locations, and with the 11 locations, 50% is coming from the sales of a product. So what are you guys thinking about moving forward? More locations or more products?
We're thinking that we want to be really strategic about new locations that we open and have them, in major metros that have sufficient population density, using our space within a space hotel model, and essentially using these as like flagships / showrooms for the product. But then really having the products be like 80% of our business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are, and we just came out with our new custom sauna too as well. So we are selling the sauna, but again, the sauna is a much more, bigger purchase. It's much more expensive and it's really heavy, and there's a lot of more, moving parts when it comes to selling the sauna. But ultimately, like if you have the space for it and you feel that passionate about it, like totally everyone should have one. And I don't know about in Hungary where you're from, but like in certain places in like Europe and Germany, I used to live in Turkey for a long time, just being Canadian, Italian, Norwegian, like those cultures embrace sauning so much that they'll have a sauna in their home and still do it on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Whereas like in North America, it's really never picked up fully. So we just really feel like there's such an opportunity to have saunas in everyone's home, or if you can't afford or don't have the space for, the sauna, then you have a sauna blanket. And so.
Would you sell these to businesses as well?
Yeah.
The saunas?
So that's another avenue that we're talking about now, is doing more of a licensing model and licensing out the brand and the equipment. We see ourselves being more of a product company, like Katie said, with these showrooms to really showcase the product.
That's cool that what you said, because for example, we're opening up a new studio in Upper East Side, and we have a giant basement. So upstairs right now is going to be a fitness studio that we have, and downstairs we're thinking to put in a recovery room. Where it's just dark, the lights are nice, and then basically what you have as a setup, but mainly putting in sauna, and that's why I also wanted to come here and see you guys.
Exactly.
Ladies, keep saying guys, sorry. Apologize, my language barrier.
Well, Lauren's pregnant, so she's definitely not a guy.
But anyways, so it's a great concept and I love it. And I wanted to ask a few things. What would be the number one hiccup that business-wise that you would share with the people that they might have the same, and how did you overcome it?
I think Katie touched on it, just having the wrong business model, but having a great idea. So that's the problem, right? Is if you have a great idea, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be a good business. So originally we were thinking about installing, infrared heating systems into hot yoga studios, and any sort of form of hot fitness should be infrared, should be the healthiest heat and should have all these benefits. But yoga studios don't have any money to do that. It's such a clunky product to sell, and it would take us forever to do it. Even though we did do it, like Katie said, it took us 2 years to put it in 5 studios, which was just not enough of a business model. So you have to be prepared to pivot. We didn't pivot 100%, where we pivoted away from the technology and how powerful that was. But you also have to find a space within the market that makes sense for you. As well as have great product and great branding and all the other components that really contribute to having a great brand or great business model.
Yeah, and aside from the real estate hiccup, which we kind of already went into, I think as you transition into being a product company, or if you launch as a product company, just in managing inventory and cash flow was kind of a big surprise, because we found that we had this product that people loved, but then we couldn't keep it in stock, and then we realized we needed all these funds for inventory, and it's sort of like a different animal. So just kind of planning for and anticipating that a little bit more, because I think if we would have gotten on top of being a product company a little sooner, that we'd be even twice the size that we are now.
So that's a really good point, and it seems or sounds like to me that you had two two great things that you realized that you need to adjust and change to. So the first one was the first concept wasn't working, right? After 2 years. So first question, how did you, when did you finally said, okay, that's it, it's that, we need to change something? How did that even come up? Like, how was the conversation?
Sparks hot yoga.
Katie and I have the same conversation over and over and over again. Like, when you actually have a business partner, you end up like talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's really when you like start to figure stuff out, you know, because you speak it out loud. But you know, it was a slow transition because even still today, people reach out to us wanting like infrared heating systems for yoga studios, and you just got to know when to say no and where to put your focus on.
I think it was when we made our second sale to a yoga studio, and it took like 3 months, and then they ended up returning the product, and we like made no money off of it. We're like, okay, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
For me, that's when I was like, next.
Yeah. There was a lot of realizations in the business that make you go, I think we need to be doing something else, or this is working, or it's not working at all.
Yeah, I love that you did that. And then not just that you did that, but you, or not stumbled upon it because you actually created this, but like how you bounced back and you created something way better and bigger so fast.
Yeah.
I really like that. And then the second one, when you realized also the second question with the product company that you need inventory and everything. So how long did that take and how did you overcome that problem?
Well, it's funny because I have the background in finance. So you would think I'd be thinking like a CFO, like, oh, we got to manage cash flows and inventory and like put down deposits. But I think it was over the fall when we finally had a little bit of inventory and we were selling really quickly. Lauren was like, Katie, I think we're going to sell out like next week. And I'm like, are you sure? And then
takes
sure
2
enough,
or 3 months to get it in.
Yeah. And then we started to figure out we weren't going to have product for like 4 months. And then I was like looking at how much cash we had to outlay for the orders. And I was like, okay, we've got this great business, but we need to figure out a few things to have it on more of a smooth inventory system. And
but we did do pre-orders, which was really helpful too. So,
That's good, yes.
Yeah, we launched our pre-orders around the right time because, you know, obviously thinking about a hot product, it's going to do the best, you know, in fall, winter, and even into spring months. So it was around just before Christmas time, and we didn't have these blankets in stock. So we were all stressing out. So we were like, okay, let's do a pre-order and pretty much, you know, tell people that they'll have the product right after Christmas, which you get so many presents at Christmas anyways, as long as you're getting it in January, which is the time for like, you know, and just like New Year's resolutions and, you know, get back into shape, that, you know, we could, you know, still continue to sell them at the price point that they're at and, you know, not like have a problem with the inventory. So that was a good solution. But then there was also the stress around getting it out on time, which we were like 2 weeks to 3 weeks delayed on that. And then you have problems. It's funny because like more business, more problems kind of thing, where it's like the more you sell, the more problems you have. We've run into that a lot where it's just like stressful trying to keep up with the demand.
And then, you know, learning about like taking on loans and considering like debt versus equity financing, and all of that's been a good learning experience, and different ways to borrow money.
Now, which one would you prefer? Because I have so many listeners actually who are at the verge of getting take on debt or take on equity partners, as in like a bigger investment. Right now, where you are, what would you recommend? I know it's out of the context, but just in your case, because so many people, I would say maybe what's the positive, what's the negative of each in your opinion?
Yeah.
Just because people who are listening, they can't really compare their business to yours and, you know, the setup. But as just to hearing somebody else who is not related to their business to hear they would prefer equity versus debt would be probably helpful, you know, for the listeners.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, with debt, you obviously get to keep more of your company, which is good, but usually you can't borrow the same amount that you would be able to do in an equity raise. Like, for instance, we've been able to borrow like $500,000 in the last couple months, but if equity raise, we could get up to like $5 million or more right now. I think if you have strategic investors that are not just providing cash, but they can open up other doors, like real estate opportunities, or they have some expertise in product development, then that's another reason to go with equity. So it's, like, you know, to your point, there are pros and cons of each, and it just kind of depends on your goals as an entrepreneur and where your business is at.
Where would you like to be in, if you can think ahead, probably you can, because you're doing amazing already, in the next 3 to 5 years, if you can think of it?
Selling product sitting on a beach on my phone.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Was that too honest?
we would, like Katie,
I understand.
we would like to be creating other amazing products that can really like make people feel amazing and look amazing. But also having these like flagships in major metros would also be really great for us too as well. And just getting the brand out there, because we really feel like the brand is much more than just infrared and what we're doing right now. And we really are excited to just like grow and expand this business and ultimately be a household name at some point or another would be great.
It's more of like a zeitgeist around getting high naturally, and then by the way, that's gonna make you beautiful as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to be in Chicago and LA and San Francisco and possibly London. Definitely want flagships, all those places, and then we want to keep wowing people with innovative product that's like really changing their life.
That's amazing.
Product that we want. You know, that's kind of the criteria. Is it something that we want 1,000% and can't help but think about all the time? Otherwise, it's like, let's not do it.
Yeah, we vet everything thoroughly, and we both have to be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Lastly, which one would you prefer, the service industry or consumer to consumer industry, as in sales of a product? Well, I already know the answer. Sales of a product, beach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, mainly because it's really difficult to manage people, and you know, these locations require a lot of staff, and I think the experience gets diluted, and it's really hard to like pass on our vision and our passion to the staff and make sure that they're, you know, giving that same experience. So I feel like, you know, we can easily do that through product and content and have a little bit more control over it, you know, versus the brick and mortar with, you know, crazy amounts of staff.
Yeah, the staff makes it really hard, especially when you want to grow fast. It's almost impossible to train everybody on time, get everything done.
Really?
Yeah. It's just no, you can, of course.
Yeah.
It's just people. People. You
People.
never know what happens in their personal life, you know, in business life, and so many things could happen.
So many variables.
Exactly, and that's the other reason.
Yeah.
How many employees do you guys have now?
Like 60?
Yeah.
60?
Ish, 50, 60.
Yeah. Which is a lot.
Yes.
And there's only really Katie and myself. We have an operations director. We just hired HR 3 months ago, and we have someone that helps us with marketing, but you know, that's a very small corporate team. So you can imagine, like, you know, the amount of stuff that Katie and I are doing day to day on operations, which we would just like love to switch off and focus more on like product development, building out the brand and content and,
big picture,
you know, raising money and vision. Yeah. And really, we're still doing a lot of, you know, the day to day work that is very time consuming.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take up any of your times, and I totally appreciate already taking time, because I understand how busy it is, especially running a business of this size already. Is there any last minute giveaway to our listeners that you would recommend to them to do? Any mistakes that you have learned and would just give away that don't do this, or anything you would give away for any fitness entrepreneur out there today that might want to make their dream come true, just like you two are doing it right now?
Whew, that's a tough one.
Don't spend too much time and energy on something until you are sure it's going to make money.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good.
Katie always talks about how, you know, when you get an investor, it's kind of like dating, and you really got to spend some time with, you know, the investor and make sure that they're in there for the right reason and they're investing into you and not just ultimately trying to take over your business at some point or another. So I would just say, like, I have a really strong bullshit meter where I just like ask a lot of questions. I want to know the truth. I'm not like someone that just likes to fill my head with like, oh, this is amazing, even though it most likely is not. I'm actually very skeptical until I'm proven otherwise.
Good. So be skeptical, guys. Yeah.
You don't have to be skeptical out loud. You don't have to be Mr. Negative or whatever, but just like really ask those questions, do your research, figure out if they're the best partner for you, and, you know, just have your wits about you.
Good.
And be prepared to talk to 80 to 100 investors before you find your first one.
80 to 100.
Yep.
Dating.
Yeah,
You heard it here first.
Yep.
It's like dating, and the first date's not always good as the third or fourth or fifth, so make sure you spend some time with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's very good feedback for all the listeners because they are at the verge of that. And then lastly, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can check us out at HigherDOSE.com or HigherDOSE on Instagram. And then my personal Instagram's Lauren Berlingeri, which is, I'm not going to spell my last name. Okay, you can put it in the link. Okay.
And then my Instagram's Katie Kaps, K letter T, Kaps.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.